This is the first week of the season where we got a lot of wide receivers to look at off the waiver wire. We had a bunch of injuries at the wide receiver spot in week 7. We had a couple wide receivers exceed expectations. Mainly, we have not seen many quarterbacks throw for 300-plus yards this year. In game, we had 3 last week. We haven't had many. So those ancillary pass catchers aren't getting many opportunities to just spike production for us to look at. So we're looking at the mainstays, and we're hoping for the best with them. But we have a few guys stepping into a situation that could change. We're going to look at a rookie wide receiver today in Keon Coleman, who might develop in the back 9 of the season with Amari Cooper there. It might yield fantasy results, but we're going to deep dive the numbers, the advanced analytics, the situation to see whether or not you want him for fantasy football. We're going to strategize around him. At the end of this video, you may not want him. You may not. But that is why we are here, to give you the numbers, the situation, so you can make your choice. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're doing these deep dives every day on as many players as possible. All the trending players from the waiver wire, guys getting traded, and everything else. We're covering that with you. On top of that, we're looking deep at the waiver wire almost every single day, and then we're using these videos to help you set your lineups. Click that button. Stop missing out, because Ric Flair's watching and you do not want to disappoint him. But Amari Cooper traded to the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be a huge impact. He's already playing. He played last week. We're going to look at his numbers. We're going to look at Keon Coleman's numbers. We're going to look at the rest of the team's numbers. And we're going to see how this offense is going to be different going on forward down for the rest of the season, because this is huge news for the passing offense. And there's going to be a lot of changes here. But Keon Coleman, 7 targets, 4 balls caught, 125 yards, best game of the season. And when you look at his fantasy production here, this is the first game he truly hit for you. He had 11.9 game in week 5 against Houston. But honestly, just a rookie doing rookie things. We have 2 touchdowns on the season. We're able to be on the field and get a good snap share. That's a good thing to look at. We're able to run some routes. We got some balls caught on the season. In the last 3 games, 5 balls caught, 4 balls caught, 7 balls caught. We're ramping things up. And also, you throw in week 4, he caught 4 balls in that one. I don't know how I missed that. But we're ramping up here. We're starting to get more workload. You're also seeing that in the snap share. That game against Jacksonville, 31% of the snaps he ran on, that was low. That's what created a lot of questions about him. He was also able to score a touchdown in that game. That was that game where we were wondering where he's at in like the first quarter. Then he just runs out there, scores a touchdown real quick, and next thing you know, he's not on the field much more. But you're looking at the volume in this offense. There's one thing you can definitely say is this is a team that started off the season very run heavy, but now we got in some game scripts where they needed to throw the ball, so they came in and brought in Amari Cooper. Going back to where he was at in high school, he was a top-end recruit. He was an underrated recruit coming out of high school. 43 offers from different colleges, top-tier Power 5 programs. We landed with Michigan State, 4-star prospect, ranked 42nd in that class. However, the market of college football, you're looking at Oklahoma, Tulane, Kansas, 42 offers, many other Power 5 programs on top of those after him, letting you know there's some talent here. He played basketball, so the recruiting sites were more looking at him as a basketball player at the start of his high school career, but he really turned things up in the back 9 of his high school career. But we get to Michigan State, we break out in 2022, 798 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's year 2 on his career. We go to Florida State. We come close to breaking out. But we come out solid against LSU in that big game. Everybody's talking him up as a first-round pick, showing off them ball skills. We got 11 touchdowns. We're good around the boundary. We're good downfield. You got a good feel of what he can do on the field. At Michigan State, it was kind of hid. He outproduced Jaden Reed there. 12.4 ADOT in 2023, 12.3 in 2022. So that's consistent with 2 different collegiate teams. This is a wide receiver that can get downfield, that can bring in contested catches, that fits well with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen, when he needs to throw some YOLO balls downfield, deep downfield, is going to be looking his way, especially once he's acclimated. I don't believe he's 100% acclimated yet for the NFL game, but that could happen in the back 9 of the season. But you're looking at a deep play who excels at contested catches, that could see some deep targets here and there that could really buoy some fantasy production, because that's what we saw in college. And now you're looking at his numbers. We broke out at age 19. We got an age 19 breakout age with a 27.71% market share of Michigan State's passing production. That's the ownership of the passing offense. That's what you want to look at when you look at the numbers, not just the volume stats. He's up there with Malik Neighbors, Troy Franklin. It's more of a prerequisite than it is as an absolute. Meaning, most of the guys that hit for the long term for fantasy football or in the NFL in general usually break out early. But not all the guys who break out early hit at the NFL level, if that makes sense. That being said, that increases his odds. And also, as a rookie, we're also seeing him simmer a little bit with some production. We almost broke out with Florida State, 18.69% market share of the team's passing production. That 11 touchdowns, though, really increases his dominator rating of the ownership of the passing production, but sheer yards, 18.69%. But we come out after 3 years of college football. We're a young prospect. We're a young kid. We're barely old enough to drink. And now we're learning the NFL game. So you got to give him some grace to develop. Maybe this is more of a 2025 play, a 2026 play. But he's developing pretty well because he's able to see a good snap share. So he's able to be on the field. When we get to the combine, he runs a 4.61 40-yard dash. I didn't like it. I felt like he could run a faster 40 than that, and he's timed on the field of hitting 20 miles per hour, especially at the college game. So I feel like he could have hit a faster 40. So that being said, when I recapped his combine, I felt like he left something on the table, considering when we were going through drills, he hit 19 miles per hour, or even 20 miles per hour in some of those drills. You look at his RAS score, it's okay when it comes to his explosive numbers, his vertical and broad jump. The 40-yard dash is still low. We're okay on the RAS score, which is all right for a prospect. So it's not like he failed it, but I felt like he left some meat on the bone because I felt like he's more athletic than what he showed on the testing results. And he ran 19.3 miles per hour in the drills, which is also an indicator for that. And he's also timed with a higher miles per hour in game. So I feel like he could have ran a faster 40. He's faster than that once he gets his speed built up. He can get downfield. He can make plays happen. I think he's got more upside than what he showed at the NFL Combine when it comes to his speed and athleticism. But when we're getting on the field here, we're getting targets, we're running routes, we're seeing opportunity. 27 targets among wide receivers, second most in this offense. 28 for Khalil Shakir. The thing that we need to stress with this offense, we started off the year very slow in the passing department. We are very run-heavy. This was a very run-heavy offense. This was a team starting off wanting to slam the ball up the gut with James Cook. Keon Coleman was not getting many opportunities due to that. Many of the pass catchers wasn't. But now we're in game scripts where we got to sling the rock. And now we have to bring in Amari Cooper. And when we look at the numbers from last week, Amari Cooper ran a 34.3% route participation rate. That's going to ramp up to 90. That's going to ramp up to 90. Keon Coleman was in on 82.9%. Khalil Shakir will be on the field. He's a mainstay here. So it's probably going to be Shakir, Coleman, and Cooper as your wide receivers. Mac Hollins is probably going to lose some target share. He's running at a 65.7% clip. He's running deep routes. You can do that with Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman is more effective that way because of what we saw in college football, because of his contested catch ability and his assets with that. Amari Cooper is good downfield as well, so he's going to suck up some of those Mac Hollins deep routes as well. So Mac Hollins is really going to get stifled here. Keon Coleman's still going to get some opportunity. Amari Cooper is going to get a 25+% target share. That's going to eat up the targets. That's going to make it harder for these wide receivers to really hit and be consistent. Another thing though, if Amari Cooper is going to hit a 25% target share over these next few weeks, this team's going to start throwing it a little bit more. They can rely more on the pass game since he's going to be looking good. He's already ramping it up on the field. He's running the slot. He's running on the outside. He's got a good route participation rate. 12 routes in his first ever game and then seeing 5 targets on those 12 routes. Josh Allen wants to look his way. That being said, Amari Cooper's going to rack up targets. They're going to throw it a little bit more. They're going to be a little bit faster paced. That could impact these wide receivers with more opportunities. And on top of that, that could be better opportunities too, because now they got to roll coverage to Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman getting a couple deep balls every game. That means splash production. So what I'm thinking here is some Gabe Davis-like production here with Keon Coleman, where there's going to be a lot of games where there's nothing. And there's going to be some games where he splashes. He's going to be a splashy wide receiver. He's going to be very volatile. That's what I'm reading from the tea leaves of this offense. I see Keon Coleman having a good impact of what we were predicting coming out of college to the Buffalo Bills with Amari Cooper there. With Keon Coleman getting downfield, getting those contested catches, bringing in those deep balls, and hitting once every like 4 or 5 games for a tremendous amount, like 25 plus fantasy points. And Amari Cooper just soaking up the targets, just getting 25+% target share, getting a good ADOT. Amari Cooper's the guy you want in this offense. But the strategy with Keon Coleman is that you're using him in your lineups as a hope and pray wide receiver, because Amari Cooper's going to own this offense. This is his offense. He's a stud. He's 30 years old, but he's creating separation. He's already acclimating to the offense. 5 targets on 12 routes. That's nasty. Things are looking good. It's trending up. You don't want Keon Coleman because you don't want a splashy wide receiver. You don't want that. You can't handle that. That's going to give you a heart attack for your lineups. You don't want that. You want him because you like wide receivers like that coming off the bench. And the reason why you like that is because you know when you start a random wide receiver, the odds of them hitting like 9 to 10 fantasy points is okay, but it's not good enough for it to win your week. But those wide receivers don't have the upside to score 25 to 30 fantasy points. The air yards, the deep plays, the contested catches for a guy like Keon Coleman that could be splashy for you once out of like 5 games, 4 games, 6 games, something like that, entices you because that is a gamble, a dart throw for that lineup decision. It could happen on any given Sunday, and you may hate that. You may hate that, but there's others that love that. And they love that for their lineups because they want that gamble. And they might be starting 5 wide receivers. They might be starting like 6 flexes or something like that. They might be in a 16-team league. They might like a guy like Keon Coleman because the wide receiver pool is drained out even worse than what your league is. And they might need a deep threat or a contested catch wide receiver that gets those deep balls, brings in a couple of them. Next thing you know, they got 25 fantasy points because they scored a touchdown on one of those, and they're rocking it. However, on the inverse, they probably got 2 fantasy points on the down games. That being said, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a very volatile player right now for the back end of the season. I don't look for it to be consistent unless something happens to Amari Cooper. What I'm expecting from Amari Cooper is him running on 90% of the routes, seeing a 25+% target share, getting elite numbers. He ran 12 routes and got 5 targets. He got a lot of volume there. That's only going to increase with more routes ran, and that's going to ramp up over the course of time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.